What's good with y'all? What's good? Now I want to come on here real quick and I just want to talk about fear. Now, as I've said in previous videos, to begin things off, fear is simply just false evidence appearing real. The only reason why fear exists is because you put authority into the idea of fear existing. Fear doesn't exist, fear never will exist, and it never has, okay? Fear is all created in the mind based off your lack of knowledge or something. You know, as people, like I said, we want comfortability, we want stability, we want security. Okay, so with that being said, when we venture into the things of the unknown, we get scared exactly because of the fact that we don't know. Because we don't know certain things, because we're in the dark about specific things, we don't want to go out and try new things. And that's where a lot of people fail. A lot of people fail when they don't want to try new things. You got to realize that fear is control based. You can't control somebody who doesn't fear the consequences of their actions. So it's very important that in every single thing that you do, you move with conviction, you move with purpose, and you move with fearlessness. Because when you move out of fear and insecurity, you're constricting your movements. It's very similar to trauma. You can't go into a relationship or you can't go into a new endeavor, a new venture with this idea that you're less or that you're lacking in some department. You're going to manifest experiences based off of what you believe yourself to be. Fear is used for control. This is why we have media sources such as social media, Instagram, TikTok, we have YouTube, we have the news, okay? Fear is what runs and governs society. Everything we know, down to religion, sexuality, sexes, wars, everything comes down to this one primal emotion: fear. All wars in history start from a lack of fear. Fear that I'm not able to control you, okay? All wars come from the desire for power and for resources. And people fear the lack of having said power and resources, hence why we get into fights and we get into battles. As society, our ancestors, we created specific belief systems and we created all these, little cults and all these groups. And people who went against the grain, as in not having the same way of thinking, philosophies or belief systems, we feared them. This is why we shunned other people away. And this is a very human thing, okay? It's very natural to feel fear. Fear is a biological response to danger, okay? As a human, if you sense danger, you're going to fear it because you want to stay away from it for the sake of survival. But the most important thing in this life is to go against biology. And don't take that out of context, but what I mean by going against biology is going against this primal emotion of feeling fear. If there's one thing that my dad always told me, he always freaking told me, was that you're not supposed to fear anyone. You're not supposed to fear a damn thing. Because at the end of the day, you can bleed red just as I can bleed red, okay? We all have the same emotions. We all have the same problems. Why am I fearing you more than I should fear anybody else? As I already said, fear doesn't exist. Fear never has existed and never will exist. It's your idea about fear that makes it as real as it does. You're not scared of the other person, you're scared of yourself. Think about it like this. Who's scary, the knife or the person? The knife isn't scary because you use knives to cut fruits, you use knives to cut ropes, you use knives to cut and clean chicken, okay? But it's the person who has the ability to swing that knife that makes it scary. It's not about the objective fear, it's about the subjective viewpoint about the fear that makes it real. When it comes to any and everything in life, you are supposed to move with a sense of fearlessness, okay? One book that I'm reading right now that I'm almost finished with is called The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. Now that book heavily talks about fear and how fear as people is not only primal, but it's what holds us back from our most authentic and successful selves. I think it's Sister who says this, but you know how you hear on social media, your fear of looking stupid is holding you back? Yeah, it's because a lot of the time as people, as a society, we've co-signed these beliefs of what is to be normal, when in actuality, we're humans who are meant to go against the grain of society. And because we're meant to go against the grain of society, we hold ourselves back from being authentic. This is why when we see certain things, we feel cringe, okay? Or when I see you doing something that's cringy or against the grain of society, I feel in myself a level of cringe. But at the end of the day, that person is simply just being their most authentic self. the book goes on to heavily talk about the fearless types in history and how through being fearless, through confronting your mortality, through your own self-belief, through mastery of a skill and of the self, how these people were able to turn shit into sugar and be able to be some of the most, successful people in human history. And the thing is, we all have this ability to confront biology. At the end of the day, bro, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't be scared, bro. It's very important that as a fearless person, that you keep that same energy you had when you were starting the endeavor. If someone were to ask you what you were doing, you shouldn't ball up and be, all little and petite when it comes to telling them what you were doing. If you had conviction doing it, you should have conviction telling the person what you were doing. You might fuck around and be scared of something now, but through confronting the situation head on, you might end up getting into a certain venture or endeavor and actually really enjoying it. So don't block yourself for the blessing of love or opportunities or anything just because of fear. People throughout history didn't ask for freedom. They didn't ask to be seen, okay? You don't ask to be seen. You take it. You claim it as if it's yours because it's a birthright. It is yours. But the only way you're going to get that is through fearlessness. And look, sometimes it's hard to be fearless, okay? Everybody gets scared. I get scared. On some human to human shit, I get scared. Yes. But at the end of the day, bro, fear is not a static character trait. Fear is something that fluctuates depending on the situation. But the goal in life is to simply be fearless of everything. And again, going back to it, this is why I say the goal of life is not just to be infinitely great, it's to be greater than infinity. Because being greater than infinity is being fearless in every single endeavor and not procrastinating. A lot of the times in society, we procrastinate out of fear, okay? Fear of what? You gotta ask yourself, what are you scared of? What is it that's holding you back from accomplishing your goals and wanting to do what you want to do in this life? A lot of the time, it's fear. And once we could get back to that root of what makes us human and confront that, then we're able to be successful in every single thing we do. But with that being said, I love myself through you. We're gonna rock out, have a beautiful, blessed, productive, and successful day. And again, the goal of life is not just to be infinitely great, it's to be greater than infinity. Peace.